Hello, Incredible Moms. This is Krystal with the Incredible Moms podcast, where we discuss getting pregnant, being pregnant, having babies, being a mom, and so much more. We hope you enjoy the show. Hey, everybody. We have an extra special bonus episode on top of a bonus episode this week. It's part of my conversation I had with Valeriana, the certified nurse midwife from New York. Valeriana actually was telling me all about this thing called a babysitting co-op that I had never heard about before. And I thought it would be a really great thing to share with my listeners because obviously most of us are moms or going to be moms or trying to be moms. So it's something that I would actually love to start in my town if possible at some point when this COVID stuff is kind of at bay a little bit. And I thought it might be useful for some other moms. I hope you enjoy.
My children are 37 and 30. And when I had them, we lived in New York City, and where I lived in New York City, which was the Upper West Side, actually even more north in Inwood area, just like on the northern tip of Manhattan, as it's called, we had a mother's group that I started with along with two other moms. And that thing grew into so many facets. It started out as a baby group, right? And then then it became a toddler group, and then it became the old chums. And the old chums were bigger kids, right? And then we had this one reunion about 15 years later, and we had teenagers, we had babies and siblings and we called them lap baby group, the toddler group and the old chums group. And we actually formed a babysitting co-op. And don't know, oh my gosh, I should really go back. We did not invent or form this group. It was 20 years old when the binder was given to us by some grandmother in the group who said, we had this, please take it on and revive it. Well, that's all we had to hear. The only way I could be a doula and work with a home birth midwife when my son was little as a birth assistant, because I was a nurse too, was to be able to have this babysitting co-op, because we had little cards with the name of with a little symbol and the name of our co-op. And you started out by buying 4 cards for $1 each. And that's how I think, or maybe they were $2 each. They might have been $2 each. And you could always go to the bank, whoever was taking the bank, and we just would rotate that and buy what we call tokens, or we just got tokens from each other. So let's say, Krystal, you had to go to a birth and you're like stuck, and you call me and you say, can you come over, or can I bring my daughter over for a couple of hours until my husband gets home? Sure, yeah, bring your kids over and we're having dinner. They come over, and each kid, I think the second kid was 1 token, and then, or something like that. It just kind of worked out the way we planned it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I didn't pay for babysitting for years.
That's amazing.
You should do it. It's like brilliant. And I don't know why people don't do it all the time. I guess now with COVID, it's not as easy. But we're just in a new normal. It'll change, but It's really a fantastic program, especially if you have within a 20-minute drive of each other, you want to go out for a date night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds confusing a little bit with the tokens and whatnot, but it sounds awesome.
No, it's not. So I had a teacup, a broken teacup with all of my they were little cards. They were business cards, only cut in half, right? So they were that size.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And each one had we imprinted with a rubber stamp the name of our group. It was called the Indian Grove Playground Co-op. And that was our hub, because we lived in where the Native American, at the time we called them Indians, right? Where Native Americans bought Manhattan Island. So there was a playground named after that. So that's what we called the co-op. So each one of them was worth $2. So each one was good for an hour. Yeah. Each one was good for a half an hour of babysitting. So I paid $4 an hour for babysitting.
Oh, wow.
And with my other kid, when my other baby was born, if she needed to be babysat for, and she was just a toddler, like she was only 2 when we were still doing the co-op, I would have to give another one token, which was worth $2. So it was like $6 an hour. So, but the whole idea was that after a while, the tokens meant no money. Do you know what I mean? It was just that, let's say, if you needed me for 4 hours, you would give me 4 tokens. Well, whatever, you accumulate those tokens from the woman who you had her kids the week before.
Oh,
So the
okay.
more babysitting or the more childcare you do, the more tokens you get. You can have, a bucket full of tokens, and you're going to have, from all the work that you do. And then when then you need to go out for a date night, or let's say you get a job and you need childcare for the 2 hours, you're waiting for your husband to get back every single day, like if you've got a per diem job or something. And that happened to me. I needed this woman to sit for me for 2 hours a day while I was working evenings from 3 to 11, and my husband didn't get home till 5. So he used to go over there, pick up my son, and give her 2 tokens, which was $4.
Oh, okay.
Get it? And so it wasn't money. It just start out as money. You start out putting in the kitty, you put in your $4 and you get you get your 2 tokens, or you could put in $6 and get 4 tokens. And so then you just start, that's something to start out with. So here I am, new to the co-op. I've got my 6 tokens and I want a date night. So I call you and I say, hey, I saw you in the playground. I'm Valeriana. We probably already met because we're part of this mothers group, right? And then, I'd love to go out to dinner with my husband on Friday night. Oh, great. Bring your kids over. We're going to have a pizza night. Great. I bring my kids over and they're there for 2 hours. And I now give all my tokens to you. Now I have none. Doesn't matter. I could go buy some and start again. Or you could call me for a date night and then give me. So it's always back and forth with these tokens.
Right.
So that's what the co-op means. Does that make sense now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really
Cool,
cool.
right?
And my biggest, the weirdo in me is like, what if you bring your kids somewhere and they're really hoarders and
No. Because we all had mothers groups at each other's houses.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we all hosted mothers groups. So we would meet at the playground and we kind of know each other. And then we would invite a mother. Oh, would you like to join our mothers group? You have a new baby. We would love. Or we meet on Wednesday mornings at 10 o'clock. Our next meeting is going to be at so-and-so's house. So she would be, welcome to come to the mothers group. And then she then is going to get to host the mothers group, right? So then, and you end up, but when you do the babysitting co-op, you end up always doing, for me, I ended up with the same 3 people. One, because my son played with their kids in the playground or out and had play dates. And I got to be friends with them because our kids were older and we'd know each other for a long time. But I could easily, like when I started working for this midwife doing assisting in home birth, and my husband wasn't home and I had to go to a birth, man, I'd call anybody. I mean, not anybody that I didn't know, but everybody I knew. I'd at least been at their house and I knew who they are. And we all have similar, values and the way we raise our children and the way, we raise our children, the food we give them and so on. So it was great. It was great.
That is a really good idea. I might try to start something like that because we don't have anybody over here. It's just us and no friends, no family really. So
do you have other moms though? You have other moms, right?
Yeah.
So what you do is you get together with 4 other moms and you just say, listen, what do you think about this? And give them, and I could easily talk to you about it again, or you could always call me and just say, what were you saying about how does this?
Yes.
And with the money that we got, we would accumulate a couple of $100 because people would run out of tokens or they would come in, to the co-op and they would buy tokens. Some people bought a lot. We didn't encourage people to buy a lot. We encouraged people not to use money at all and just start babysitting and just start childcare and getting the tokens that way. But people wanted to kind of get a little cachet to begin with. But what we would do is once a year in the spring, we would get a location and we would have a big potluck. And the whole mothers group and the babysitting co-op would come. And that's another way we would socialize. It's really nice.
Ooh, this is like the perfect town for that. I'm like writing this down because this is like kind of a small town, but it's growing. So that's really cool.
Yeah, nice.
Thank you so much for listening to this incredible mom story today. I really hope you enjoyed it and that it may have helped you in some way. Make sure you rate and leave a comment so I can be sure to bring you the content that you really want. Please follow the Incredible Moms podcast on Instagram, where you'll also be able to find many updates and episodes. I can't tell you how much I appreciate any support. Stay tuned for another Incredible Mom next week.